Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today I'm getting back on track with my weapons mastery series. We're going to be mastering the F2000 assault rifle. This is a very unique looking bullpup assault rifle. It's got a nice rate of fire. At one point in Battlefield 3, it was the best assault rifle in the game. Just to give you a little history on this weapon in the Battlefield franchise. Of course, it got nerfed into oblivion and nobody ever used it again, but it's gotten some nice updates in the recent patch. And the biggest thing that changed with this weapon was the recoil pattern. Basically, it used to have incredibly high side-to-side recoil, making hitting distant targets almost impossible. So they've actually reduced the side-to-side recoil, pretty much cut it in half on this assault rifle, so it's going to be much more effective and much more effective at range. Its biggest benefits overall are an extremely high rate of fire at 850 rounds per minute, combined with decent hipfire accuracy. Combined with a laser sight, and you can have a very effective close quarter weapons. One of the drawbacks though is that it has a very long reload time, both short and long reload. The short reload is 2.7 seconds and the long reload is 3.9 seconds. So if you use every bullet in your mag, you almost have a 4-second reload with this gun, compared to most other assault rifles in the game that don't get anywhere near that high. So you could be in a tricky situation. Recoil wise, there is something that's fairly uncharacteristic, especially of bullpup designed weapons, and that's that the first shot recoil is extremely high. It has a 3 times multiplier for the first shot recoil. This means that running with something like an angled foregrip would actually be highly beneficial to this weapon, and that's how I ran it for trying to get the weapon mastery dog tag. I will say it is kind of funny that you put an angled foregrip on an F2000 in the first place, because the designed foregrip is already angled. So there isn't really much of a point, and it looks kind of redundant on the gun itself. In real life, the F2000 ejects the shell casings through the front end of the gun, which is unfortunately not portrayed in Battlefield 4. They go shooting off to the right side of the weapon. And that is one of the cool benefits of the actual F2000, because you can use it ambidextrously. You don't have to switch it over to left-handed or right-handed shooting. Now, the way that I ended up running the F2000 in the long run is I used a muzzle brake and angled foregrip to modify the weapon's recoil as much as possible. The F2000, despite it having reduced side-to-side recoil, still had considerable vertical recoil and a lot of first shot kick. So the angled foregrip reduces the first shot kick, and the muzzle brake further reduces the vertical recoil. This allowed me to keep the gun at relative head level and drop my targets pretty fast with the 850 round per minute rate of fire. Overall, the assault rifle performed decently, and it wasn't too hard getting my 500 kills for the dog tag mastery requirement. However, I can't help but compare this assault rifle to other ones in the game right now, and just seeing how the F2000 really does fall short in many categories. When comparing it to other high rate of fire weapons like an AEK, the AEK has superior recoil and superior reload speed and a superior rate of fire. Not to mention better aiming down sight accuracy. In fact, the only place in which the AEK is not better than the F2000 is in the hipfire accuracy, which, let's be honest, is not that important of a stat overall. Most players only use hipfire in extreme close quarters anyway, in which case the minor accuracy difference isn't really going to play out much in general. So it would be nice to see the F2000 get some more buffs. I appreciate the recoil improvement it got, but it just isn't enough to make the F2000 a worthwhile weapon. Personally, I think the reload on this gun is just a bit harsh, but from talking a bit with the devs about the way that Battlefield 4 is made, it's very hard to change reload speeds because of the nature of the gun animations and the fact that they pretty much would have to redo the animations as opposed to just scaling some stats. So without being able to change the reload speeds, I think it would only be fair to drastically improve the F2000's recoil. The first shot recoil is uncharacteristically high for a bullpup design weapon. 3 times first shot recoil just doesn't make a lot of sense with this gun, and they could frankly stand to reduce the side-to-side recoil on this gun even further. It would just be nice to have a weapon that doesn't recoil quite as much, and that way we have an excuse to use it over something like an AEK. It's got decent accuracy and a good rate of fire. All of a sudden the F2000 could become a viable weapon even with its crazy long reload. That being said, if you're absolutely in love with the F2000, you have a thing for FN fan Herschel and you just like their guns, or you just like the look of this weapon, you want to use it a lot, you can certainly do well with it, and the loadout that I'm using here is a recommended way to go. You could even modify it further with the laser sight if you want to take advantage of some of its improved hipfire accuracy. You'll see here that I'm running it with a suppressor, which makes it a much more effective team deathmatch weapon. You can sneak around the map, you can get in close, and that'll allow you time to actually reload your weapon. If you kill somebody and their teammate doesn't notice you because you have the suppressor on there, then you can take that 2.7 seconds for the short reload, or even the 3.9 seconds for the long reload, and usually get it, because it's going to take a little while for the enemy team to figure out that somebody with a suppressed weapon killed their teammate. Now, it's important to remember that the aiming down sight accuracy of this gun is not phenomenal to begin with, so burst firing on this weapon is crucial for hitting longer range targets. It's not really recommended to try and hit really long range targets, so again, the suppressor seems like a good combination for this weapon. You're just not going to want to engage beyond medium range. And frankly, Lumpini Gardens Team Deathmatch is one of the worst maps that you can pick the F2000. This is like a long range sniper map, so navigating it with an F2000 meant only for close quarters was an absolute nightmare. Without the suppressor on this weapon, there is no doubt in my mind that I would have done considerably worse. This map just does not have good enough cover or good enough flanking routes, so the only way to get an effective flank in this map is to basically just not show up on the mini-map and hope that the enemy team isn't figuring out what's going on. I had to stick to the outskirts of the map for a lot of my flanks, or try and sneak my way up some of the cover in the very center. As far as optics go for this weapon, it just doesn't have the accuracy to warrant anything further than a one-time sight, so really don't use anything beyond that. Overall, it can be a fun assault rifle to use. I definitely like the aesthetics of the weapon and just kind of what it represents in terms of gun technology, but sadly, it's just not that great of a weapon in Battlefield 4. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments which weapon you'd like me to master next. There is a list of available weapons in the video description. I'll see you guys next time. This is LevelCap signing off.